End of Year Listening Test, Part 4. You will hear an interview about a phenomenon called information overload. For questions 1 to 6, choose the best answer A, B, or C.
On Our World of Work today is someone who is going to tell us about information overload. Claire Bennett, who is a research psychologist, became interested in information overload in 2005 and has been studying it since then. She has some interesting things to tell us. Welcome, Claire.
Thank you, Greg. It's nice to be here.
Claire, just to clarify, what exactly is information overload?
Well, in simple terms, it refers to the difficulties someone can experience when they're trying to understand a situation and perhaps make a decision related to it because there is too much information available. Alvin Toffler first talked about information overload back in 1970 in his book Future Shock. He claimed that the increasing amounts of information available to us would eventually create problems.
But we've had access to large amounts of information ever since the 1400s when the printing press was invented, haven't we?
You're right, of course, but computers have allowed us to create, copy and send out information much more quickly than ever before. We also have access to huge amounts of information online via the internet. It's becoming a common problem for people at work nowadays to get so many emails and reports, for example, that they cannot deal with them effectively. Modern technology moves faster and faster all the time, but the human brain that needs to process the information doesn't. That's when we get information overload. There is even an Information Overload Awareness Day, the first of which took place in August 2009, that encourages organizations to find solutions to the problem.
I see.
Once it's present in an office situation, it spreads like wildfire. Let me explain. Imagine an employee is experiencing information overload and therefore is unable to understand and process any information effectively. Instead of summarizing a report, for example, and selecting specific individuals to send it to, they may send the whole report to everyone in the office. The result is that now everyone else in the office must go through the whole report to find the main points or the part of it that is relevant to their job. In a similar way, the fact that information can be passed on so easily and for free means that people are likely to send information to everyone who might need to know, rather than just to those people who definitely need to know.
And so the pattern repeats itself.
Exactly. It means that these people either delay making decisions or make bad decisions, simply because they don't have the time necessary to process information properly.
That all sounds pretty depressing. Is there anything that can be done? Do you have any advice for listeners who may be experiencing information overload themselves, either at work or in fact in any area of their life?
Well, it isn't something that can be solved easily. However, we can do a few things to reduce the effects of it. Firstly, and most importantly, we should focus on doing one thing at a time and avoid multitasking. Secondly, we can learn how to select information that we need to know, while ignoring information that is simply nice to know. We should also remember to be clear when we are dealing with other people as well. A short report with quality information is much better than a long report that includes irrelevant information. Finally, it's not a bad thing to turn off your email when you are doing something important that requires your concentration. You can always get back to people later in the day.
Well, Claire, I think it's time to let our listeners ask you some questions. Our first caller is Janet from Birmingham.